Hello and welcome to Art Club. It is going to be all about the snowman this week, and we are going to have some fun. So the first thing we need for today is to get our supplies out, and there's kind of a lot. So I'm going to run through the list. If you need to pause or rewind, feel free to do that. The first thing that we're going to need, you guys should have gotten some plates in the mail. We are going to need just one plate today. We're going to need the smaller plate. So make sure you get that plate out. We're going to need scissors to cut the plate, among other things. Our permanent marker. We're going to need cotton balls and glue. It can be either the glue stick or a liquid glue. Either way is going to work. We're going to need colorful paper, markers. Optional, you could have pom-poms. A stapler can also come in handy, or tape. And I'll show you guys at that point what I'm referring to. So you don't need those things, but they definitely could come in handy, as well as other fun arts and craft type supplies. So maybe, you know, the googly eyes or buttons or any other fun stuff like that you might have already at home that you think would look cute for this project. So let's get a look at what we're going to be making here today. We're going to be making these adorable little snowmen. And so you can see that you're going to have the option to kind of decorate it however you want. But for right now, let's get the base information down. How do we get this started? What do we do? So the first step here is probably the most difficult step. So if you need your at-home mentor to help with this portion of it, feel free to grab them and have them help out with this cutting technique, because we need to remove the inner circle from the outer circle without cutting through the outer circle. So how do we do that? Well, first off, very carefully. Once again, if you need to get that at-home mentor, go ahead. But I try to line up my scissors right at the edge of where the inner and outer parts meet, and I make sure my fingers are not behind there, and give a little push. Whoops, see, sometimes that happens. It got a little bit bigger than I was hoping, but that's okay. We're gonna rock with this because sometimes stuff like that happens. So now that I've got that little hole made, I am going to take my scissors, cut around the edge just like this. So cutting all the way around. Can you guys see how that's separating the inner from the outer? So continuing around just like that. Almost there. And here we go. Got it. So I've got my outer ring here, my inner ring here. If you see there's some spots that are like, you know, there's little tabs sticking out, feel free to clean it up if it bothers you. But most of it, we're not going to really see on the bottom part anyway, because we're going to have our cotton balls there. On the top, if you've got something like this, let's see, you guys can see like where I've got that little tear right there. Just remember, we are going to be decorating these snowmen. So we'll be putting on maybe a hat or maybe a scarf or earmuffs, right? And so you can always put that at the top of the snowman's head like this, and then cover it up like that. See, there's always a way. So don't get too worried if you had a similar little incident like me. Okay, so our next step is I'm going to put this so it's at the top. That way I know I'll be able to cover that up with a hat or something, but I need to glue my head to the body. I'm just using this glue stick. I like this glue stick because you can see it really well on camera. So I'm going to use my glue stick and glue that on. Now I am going to be like lifting this up a bunch to the camera. So that's why I said if you've got like a stapler or tape, you can always use that just to give it a little extra support. So I'm going to put a little staple on each side here, just that way while the glue's drying, I don't need to worry about it coming apart on me. And those two little staples aren't too noticeable. So there we go. I've got the base kind of set up and ready. Next, we're going to need 3 cotton balls. So 1, 2, and 3. Just like that. Now, you're probably thinking, 3? That doesn't even come close to covering the whole outside. You're right, it doesn't right now, but we are going to fluff them out a bit. So very slowly. I have found that if you go too fast, it kind of rips the cotton ball in half. So I want to go really slow and just kind of like fluff it out. Give it a little pull in different directions. Kind of like this. And you can see what was just a small little cotton ball. Look at how big that got. That grew a ton, didn't it? So once it has grown nice and big and fluffy like that, now I'm going to take my glue, whether you're using a glue bottle or a glue stick like me, either way works. And we give it a little hug. I kind of like to press it on in there just to make sure it sticks really nicely like that. And we're on to the next one. So once again, just kind of giving it little tugs and pulls, fluffing it out a bit without pulling too hard where it rips right in half. Even if it does rip in half, you guys, it's okay, because you can always, when you glue it, just glue them next to each other. Kind of like how we're using 3 different cotton balls, but it's still going to look good. There we go. That's looking pretty good. And I'll glue this section down next. So that's the next third. I'll glue that down. Give it little hugs in here again so it holds on to that glue. I love this glue because it's purple when it's active, but it dries clear. It's kind of like magical. Okay, next one here. Give that little tugs too. Tug, tug, fluff it out. Just like that. This one's being a little trickier than the other two. There we go. Now it's loosening up a bit. They're all slightly different. Alright, is that gonna fit? Yes, that's big enough. So once it reaches all the way back to the head of the snowman, you can go ahead and glue that last bit on down. There. Okay, so from here, we want your imagination to come into play. Because you could choose, maybe you want to use some of these pom-poms for the face. Maybe you want to use green for the eyes and red for the mouth. Maybe you're like me and you want to just kind of color it. And I used Sharpie marker here, and then I used just an orange marker. So those are the nice fancy ones. Let's see, where did mine end up here? My little markers. There they are. Got so many art supplies out here. So go ahead and use some of the markers that came in our kits, or you can always use crayons or colored pencils, oil pastels, whatever you've got at home. If you're using markers, just always make sure you listen for that click, right? That way we know that it is good to go and it's not going to get dried out on us. But yeah, so your next step, go ahead and give your snowman a cute little face, however you want to do so. Maybe you've got googly eyes at home or buttons. That could look kind of cute. So give your snowman a face, and then from there, put on a hat or some earmuffs. Maybe you make a little scarf for your snowman. Maybe you give him arms and a broom. There's all kinds of fun things. So feel free to have fun. This is where you really get to kind of experiment and add your own personality and accessories to your snowman. And then of course, don't forget, once you're done, to come on into our slides down at the bottom where it says Hall of Frame, and click on that. This only takes a few seconds, and it's a great way for us to get to share our artwork with others and see what our peers are making as well. So you'll just scroll on down until you find a frame that doesn't have a name on it, and you'll claim the frame by putting in your name right down there. And then to get your picture in here, you're just going to come up top to where it says Insert Image and Camera. Hold your artwork up to the camera like this. Could even have your face in there too. And capture that image. It'll put it right into the slide for you. So it's just a beautiful way for us to get to share our artwork with each other. How cute are these already? Oh my goodness, I love it. Love it, love it. All right, well, thank you for joining in on Art Club. I cannot wait to see how your snowman today turns out, and we will see you next time.